Hi, I'm Kathy Belanger.
Oh, I don't think the thing is on anymore.
Yeah, you have to turn the microphone on, sorry.
Closer. Kathy Belanger, 7C Taggart Drive. This is my 26th year teaching at Elm Street. I naively believe that all of us in this room are on the same team. Superintendents are the coaches, the teachers and support staff are the offense and defense, the parents are the special teams, and the Board of Education is the equipment manager. Like any team, we have one common goal: to win. And by winning, I mean educating the students of this district. Each part of this team needs to do their job so that the whole team will be successful. If the equipment needed to play is not there, the rest of the team can try to win, but it will be much harder and a lot more painful. Right now, our team is losing. Last week, one of my 8th graders told me that she never logged on or participated in any of her learning in 7th grade and was surprised to be in 8th grade. That stuck with me for quite a while. Sorry. And the more I thought about it, the more I realized that she was trying to tell me that we, Team Nashua School District, did not care about her or her education. Our team failed that student and many more just like her. The board has been so busy about arguing about masks, meeting in person, remote versus in-person, that very few educational decisions have been made, especially what needs to be done with our students after remote learning, and in particular, remediation for our struggling students. So now we are going to wage another fight about something that is not about students. So the actual important things, like our students, will be ignored once again. This district is being held hostage because of one person's position. I can't even wrap my head around that. The question I would like to pose to the board is, what is the priority of the Board of Ed? That the union president has term limits or our students? We need to get back to making our students the priority so they can believe that we actually care about them and their education.
Thank you. Denise Rock?
I'm sorry, can Mr. Claffey mute himself or mute the mic? I'm finding it distracting.
Oh,
No, you can't mute him. He needs to mute himself.
Mr. Claffey,
On his
they would
end.
like you to mute.
Or you can turn his mic off.
Or I can turn your mic off. Which would you rather?
I guess for now, no, we can't turn the mic off because he has to.
I had to change my headphones because they were running out of juice.
Okay.
Jimmy has an option.
Just have him mute his microphone,
On his phone.
his smartphone.
Yes, that's
Otherwise, we won't hear him when he tries to.
exactly. Yep.
Did you hear that? They just want you to mute your microphone on your phone, and I'll leave this mic on so you can hear what's going on here.
Thank you, I'm sorry.
Okay, we lost some time on that, so I'm gonna start the 15 minutes over. Okay, sorry, Miss Denise Rock, thank you.
I'm Denise Rock O'Hara, Birchwood Drive, Nashua. I've been a teacher at Elm Street for 20 years now. I'm going to take a little different tact. For me, the relationship between the Nashua teachers and the Board of Education has become like that of a bad marriage. Not getting our needs met, but staying in it for the kids. Just like a bad relationship, communication is broken down and lies have been spread behind our backs in an attempt to demean us. The proposal you came back with last week that went against the promise you publicly made regarding our salaries. Just like a troubled relationship, we sought outside help in the form of a mediator to work out our differences. But when you repeatedly failed to negotiate in good faith, it's clear to see that this relationship is just not working. The kids and I deserve better. In a good relationship, power is not used as a weapon, but you are using your power to undermine the teachers' union by negating contract language that has been in place for over 12 years. Language that would basically impose term limits, weaken the union president, thereby weakening the union and its ability to effectively represent its membership. We know it's not financial, as this contract point costs the district $0 net dollars. You have yet to give us and the public a good explanation for this position. Despite the accusations some have made, we have been very invested in our students over this COVID period. But I'm wondering now what my students are taking away from watching how you treat their teachers. You're supposed to be our partners in helping our kids grow and succeed in this world, being a model for doing what's right. But for a long while now, talking to you has been like talking to a spouse with selective hearing. So I would like to address the students and their parents out there who might be watching. One important lesson I would like you to remember is just because you can doesn't mean you should. I often apply this in my class to technology violations or bullying. but it's true in life as well. We could vote to accept this contract, smile and stay silent about the lies certain board members perpetuate against our union, but that doesn't mean I should or we should. Just because we can accept less than we deserve doesn't mean we should. Another important lesson is about respect. Despite what we've all been told, basic respect should not have to be earned. It is owed to all of us as human beings, especially by those who hold power over us in some way. Disrespect in an uneven power dynamic is bullying, plain and simple. And just as our students have heard so many times in school, when we see bullying, we must call it out, even when it's hard, even when it comes at a cost. Just because we could stay silent doesn't mean we should.
Sorry.
Well, we won't stay silent anymore.
Stop.
You're trying to bully the teachers of Nashua, and we're done putting up with it.
Paul Menard.
Hello, Paul Menard. I teach right here in this building. I'll be here in just over 9 hours doing my job. Thank you. Presidential candidate, Secretary of War, U.S. Senator, and New Hampshire's native son, Lewis Cass, once wrote, "People may doubt what you say, but they will always believe what you do." When it comes to this contract, the board has said many things. In public comments made by members of this board, they have said they want to limit the term of the teachers' union president because of the money. But we have shown how the money is not an issue. They have said that Appendix I in the contract puts the board in the middle of an arrangement between the union and the city. But we have shown that this is not the case. They have said the president of the teachers' union doesn't do anything for the city. But we have shown that indeed the president does a lot for the city. If we cannot believe what you say, then we have to look at what you do. The board brought up the removal of Appendix I on the first day of negotiations, even though they knew that it was a non-starter. The language of Appendix I remains to this day the one sticking point. They have said many things, but the one thing that has stayed consistent is their insistence on removing this language from the contract, language that has been in place for 12 years. Removal of this language would limit the power of the president. The board hasn't said that, but they keep trying to do it. Why? What are we to believe? The only explanation that seems reasonable is that the board wants to weaken the teachers' union. They want to weaken the union by weakening the role of the president. Cut off the head of the snake and the body dies. Isn't that the idiom? Despite what the board says, their one consistent behavior has been to seek the removal of Appendix I. So what I am left to believe is that they want to weaken the union, and that is something we will not allow you to do.
Thank you. Is it Avril Mastro Marino? It's not just the word, like, I can't read all of the writing.
Arvilla Master Marino, 207 Manchester Street. I was going to say that the elementary principal would have been very proud. I used my toolkit Saturday night when I heard about the proposal, and I went out and I very neatly shoveled my driveway. So thank you, negotiating board, for that. I spoke a couple meetings ago about how when you treasure or value something, you take care of it. It seems like since you went back on the salary and have stayed with this language that you're not valuing the teachers, you're valuing your fear of the union. What you value, you take care of.
Thank you. Beth Wheeler?
Beth Wheeler, 30 Conant Road. I'm a 5th grade teacher at Bicentennial Elementary School and a parent of 2 Maine Dunstable students. And I'm here tonight as a teacher, community member, and parent. And I would like to ask the board's negotiating team to publicly explain why they want why they want to change Appendix I, and how it is a benefit to the district when there are so many other pressing issues that need the attention of our board that will benefit our district on a greater scale, such as the need for consistent leadership of a long-term superintendent. I am fortunate to be part of the learning communities of 2 of the city's best elementary schools, Bicentennial as a teacher and Maine Dunstable as a parent. I think we should look at what these 2 schools have in common that make them great: committed, long-term principals. In the 45 years since it's opened its doors, Bicentennial has seen only 3 principals: Charlie Katsois for 28 years, Kyle Angel for 12 years, and now the commitment of Michael Mahoney for 5 years, and we hope many more. I love my students and my teammates, but they are always changing. What has kept me as a committed teacher at Bicentennial for 12 years is the consistent, supportive leadership I have come to expect. My own 4th and 2nd graders are thriving academically at Maine Dunstable in a time when how and where they learn has changed many times in the last 2 years. I wish I could say it was because they have a teacher for their mama, but it's not. It's their school that deserves all the credit. A school that has had the steady leadership of Kelly Parody for 11 years. When there is consistent leadership, students, staff, and parents know what to expect and rise to meet those expectations. When there is a turnover in leadership every 2 to 3 years, as we have seen in the superintendent's office, initiatives and expectations change, leaving our learning community scrambling to keep up. I am again asking why the board is pouring so much time and energy into changing Appendix I and how it benefits the district when there is a much more pressing issue of securing a superintendent that will lead our schools long-term and into greatness, and that doesn't seem to be getting any of your attention.
Thank you. Diana Greer.
Diana Greer, I work at the Pennachuck Middle School. As we watch the clock at the end of the day, my fellow teachers and I commiserate about the terrible student behavior, lack of consequences for said students, the various district assessments we have to administer, and our exit strategies. Some of us will stick it out with the district for retirement is on the horizon. Some of us will search for new positions at the end of the year, and some of us are resigning before June. What message do you continue to send to those of us who work for the district? What incentives do we have to stay working for a district that kicks us when we're down? Instead of concentrating on substitutes and tutors, we should focus on teacher retainment. For example, the district has lost and is losing science teachers. We are told to use a new curriculum and change the units we teach at the same time. Science teachers could be doing actual science rather than managing student behaviors and serving up a canned curriculum. We can get paid more and respected more elsewhere. Why would we stay?
Thank you. Sue Cooper. Okay. Megan McKnight.
Hi, I'm Megan McKnight, and I work at Dr. Crisp Elementary. I have been here before, not necessarily in this room, but in this experience, watching the teachers, paras, and school nurses of Nashua have to fight for the bare minimum of what they deserve. When I was 8 years old, my parents, both teachers of Nashua for over 30 years now, brought my brother, sister, and I to the picket line. They brought us here so that we could see what it meant to fight for the rights of our people, to see how to stand united with colleagues and to be proud of what you do. I held a sign and stood with them as they fought for a fair contract. I am 23 years old now. It has been 15 years since then. So why are the teachers of Nashua still having to fight for the same bare minimum? Why do I have to stand in a picket line only in my second year of teaching? I became a teacher to prepare students for the future, teach them about each other and themselves, and to give them confidence in academics and life skills. I did not become a teacher to have to fight for the bare minimum of what I deserve. I did not become a teacher to have to stand here and beg for the bare minimum. Teachers, paras, and school nurses deserve better. We deserve people in charge who will respect the hard work and endless hours we put in daily to not only teach curriculum, but be therapists, second parents, and friends to the students we absolutely adore. Students who deserve the best of what we can give them. Students who deserve this group of hardworking teachers, paras, and nurses that work in this school district. Teachers are doing their job teaching. Students are doing their job learning. And what we ask of the board is for you to do your job and lead by giving us a fair contract and valuing education in Nashua. We are not picketing in the middle of winter for fun. We are not only working within our paid hours for fun. We are not boycotting our committees and extra activities for fun. We are doing it because we deserve more than what you are giving us. We are doing it because after 15 years, I shouldn't have to stand next to my mother again in the picket line, now fighting for both our contracts. You want us to get back to the work the way it used to be? Then give us more than the bare minimum.
Thank you. Sheila Dunbar.
Good evening, my name is Sheila Dunbar, 207 Manchester Street. I teach 7th grade social studies at Pennachuck Middle School. I am also a building representative at Pennachuck. In my 35 years of union membership in 4 different unions, public, private, and government, and as a representative of 3, I have never seen the level of disrespect and disdain from a negotiating team. The latest communication offer from the negotiating team is insulting and regressive. I don't understand why the district feels that they should manage the affairs of the NTU. Limiting the leave allowed by our president limits the union and every member. We are the members of the union and we will not put up for it. Without a clear reason, it's plain and simple union busting. My fellow union members will not stand for it. I'm angry that I need to spend time here wasting my valuable time outside of school to tell you that I'm angry. To tell you that this is absolutely ridiculous that we are still trying to settle this contract. I have not seen any valid reason to try to limit the leave. I have not seen any valid reason. We've already heard this all night. I'm angry that I had to spend time to write this. I'm angry that I chose to work to my contract. I'm angry that I can't spend that extra time thinking about those students. Of course, I'm always thinking about them because either you're teaching or you're thinking about it. But I'm angry that I can't spend that extra time to make that lesson special. I could sit there and have the students use the 10-year-old textbook, but that's not engaging for them. And I don't have the time during the school day to do all of the extra things that are keep getting thrown on us. And we continue to not get the respect. Hiring a company to pay subs, to hire subs? Who wants to come here? No one wants to come here, especially when the students, especially in the middle school, they know they can do whatever they want. They can still go to high school. Students need consistency in school. They need those teachers. Like Beth Wheeler just said, we need consistency in leadership. Students need consistency in school. When you don't value or respect your employees, those employees are going to leave. I know of many employees who have already resigned, just an additional one today. I really, I don't know. You have the authority to settle this contract. You have the authority to do it. Please do it.
Thank you. It has been 15 minutes. I'd be looking for a motion to extend another 15 minutes.
Second.
Ms. Johnson and Ms. Gilio. Thank you.
Hold on 1 second.
I know.
Mr. Claffey? I'm not up. Mr. Claffey?
You can unmute.
You had to mute himself. Oh.
Okay, yes. Ms. Gilio?
Yes.
I'm a yes. Ms. Lampier?
Yes.
Ms. Brown?
Yes.
Ms. Deem?
Yes.
Ms. Johnson?
Yes.
Ms. Bishop?
Yes.
Okay.
Okay, next up is Vincent DuVall.
Hi, I'm Vincent DuVall. I'm the music teacher and band director at Pennachuck Middle School. And I'm obviously here to address the issue of the Nashua Board of Education to agree to a fair and reasonable contract with the Nashua Teachers Union. This is not the first time that I've spoken before the Nashua Board of Education for this reason. However, it wasn't for this contract. Every contract renewal in the 25 years that I've been in Nashua has been delayed. This is not the first time that teachers have felt compelled to justify their value in order to receive fair and equitable pay, benefits, and work conditions. I should and would be using my own time in a much better fashion right now if I wasn't put in this position by the negotiating team of the Nashua Board of Education to defend my right to strong union representation. And the current breakdown in negotiations absolutely does hinge around my right to adequate representation. Proposals put forth by the district negotiating team would weaken our local union leadership by strongly disincentivizing members to run for the position of president by making it too big a personal and professional sacrifice for any member to serve more than one term. This would ensure a revolving door of leadership at the union office, preventing any individual from becoming established enough to provide strong and effective leadership. It would also ensure that in the event that we did have any strong and effective union leaders, they would not remain in one place for very long. Despite this being the obvious objective, school board negotiating team members have denied any such motivation, have provided no rational or convincing argument for this being such an important item to them. I've taught my own son that when someone else presents a narrative that should make sense but doesn't, the problem is not usually a lack of understanding on our part, but either unintentional or purposeful misrepresentation on the part of those telling the story. The district negotiating team has had ample time to clear up any unintentional misunderstandings, and one can only conclude at this point that they're not being honest about their motivations for proposing contract language which would weaken this union. Interestingly, in its most recent proposal, the National Board of Education has rescinded its original proposal aimed at weakening the union leadership and put forth a new proposal in which a previously agreed upon salary schedule has been decreased, and an alternate proposal which would also weaken the integrity of the union has been presented by imposing term limits on the presidency. This basically puts a price tag upon the ability of union leadership to represent its members in future negotiations, that price tag being the salary decrease. I'm not a lawyer or a labor relations expert, but it sounds to me as though this would be considered unfair labor practice. It makes me wonder where such a proposal stands in the view of the law. And all legal considerations aside, the school board would never accept contract language which dictated how the school board should organize and go about its business. The same holds for the union. We reject any language which would propose term limits or otherwise limit in any way our sovereign right to organize as we see fit.
Thank you. Kathy Belanger. I'm on the next sheet now. Some of you guys signed up twice, but just say no if it's no. Okay. So Denise Rock, did you want to? No? Okay. Paul spoke Arvilla, Beth Wheeler did, Diane Greer did, Sue Cooper did, Meg McKnight. Marianne Lewis? Yeah, that's fine.
Thank you.
Thank you for coming.
Good evening. I'm Marianne Lewis, 22 King Street. Before I address the board, I would like to acknowledge the cadet who won the scholarship. I think that's a great accomplishment. I just want to say congratulations and thank you for your service. I did write this in a letter to the board, and so many of you have received it in your email, but I thought it was a good opportunity to share it with everyone here this evening. To whom it may concern, I'm writing to share my upset with the lack of a contract yet again. This is my 16th school year as a teacher in this district. When I was hired, I would have reached the top of the pay scale in about 12 years. Now, during my 16th year, I've gone about halfway. There has been only one contract year during my time in Nashua that a contract has been settled on time. That seems a bit silly. As teachers, we work very hard. We are responsible for so very much. Much more than teaching just math and reading, we are there to look after children, their safety, their social, emotional needs, to be on the lookout for signs of danger. We make sure they don't go hungry. We do our best to see that their needs are met day in and day out. Why has it been so difficult to see that our needs are met? I am an experienced teacher who came into the field later in life. After attending college at a non-traditional age, I have 3 certifications and recently completed my master's degree. When I was hired, I had a bachelor's plus 30 credits. A few months ago, my 26-year-old daughter surpassed my pay by nearly $20,000. For many years, I looked the other way and figured that things would get sorted soon enough. This time around, I must say that I am disgusted by what I see in the Nashua Board of Education, whether it is during meetings or during this negotiation. I, for the first time in 16 years, am truly considering my other options, looking for districts that treat their employees fairly, like the professionals we are. We were recently told that not only does the negotiating team want to compromise our union, but they have retracted the agreed upon salary negotiation. Wow, just wow. When I think about professionalism, that certainly doesn't fit the bill. I urge the Nashua Board of Education, along with the negotiating team, to work together to settle this contract fairly and professionally. Take in mind what we, your public servants, have been doing for you, your children, and your community, much of which goes above and beyond. I ask this sincerely as a teacher at Fairgrounds Middle School, a resident of Nashua, and a parent of a Nashua graduate. Thank you.
Thank you. Patricia Duffett?
Oh, are you okay? Are you okay?
Okay.
Hi, good morning, almost. Patty Duffett, 39 Yarmouth Drive, first grade teacher at Maine Dunstable. Something I try to incorporate into my teaching practice is asking questions. So I have a few for you. Why are you so gung-ho to include union busting or union weakening tactics into the teacher contract? You initially took the position that the union president costs Nashua taxpayers money, but that's not true. So then you said the city pays into the NTU president's retirement account. But since all is fully reimbursed, that's not true either. The third rationale you use to justify your union busting beliefs is that you have a philosophical problem with the position of the NTU president. Well, I want you to know that you're not the only ones with philosophical issues with this district, but we don't have time for all of us to go into those. Your fourth reason for wanting to take the power away from the union was to say that the president does no work for the district. If all he did was represent us in a contract negotiation, that would be enough to justify the job. And since your previous 4 lines of thought have not turned us against each other or our union president, you took it upon yourself to place the term limit on the office. Teachers vote for who represents us. If we want to have new representation after 2 years, we'll vote for somebody else. The decision to impose a union president's term limit should not be based on the opinion of 1 or 2 of you. My second question is, how do you plan to publicly justify regressing from a 4.1% increase in teacher salaries to a 3.9%? A few weeks ago, a social media blitz was sent out by a couple of you, an all call to Nashua families to toot your horns and let the public know that you are on the side of teachers and imply that our union president somehow is not. You now taking back a previously agreed upon, very public salary increase is insulting, and it makes me wonder what self-serving agenda you're preparing to pursue. My third question is, why can't we keep a superintendent in Nashua? We all know it's not because of the teachers. So what or who do you think could be the problem? I was hopeful when Dr. Mosley came on board that we would have a superintendent with potential longevity, and he could be the bridge between taxpayers, administrators, staff, and the Board of Education. But whatever was going on was so toxic, he left mid-year. I was hopeful again when Dr. McKinney came on board as interim superintendent, but I grow more and more frustrated with how curriculum is rolled out, professional development is handled, and how educators are often the punching bag for poorly implemented protocols. We can all agree that the last few years have been really hard. I go to bed every night knowing that I was my best self. I did my best job for my colleagues and my students. Can all of you say the same?
Thank you. Crystal King?
Hi, I'm Crystal. I live on Fairmont. I actually come as both a concerned parent and I don't know, just a community member. Sorry, I have fruit snacks because during your 2-hour filibuster over there, we got bored and hungry. So I have to agree with Patty. I know it's going to be a little weird, but about why can't we keep Dr. McKinney? Right? So like, I can tell you why. Because he doesn't want to be here. It's very clear, very evident. I'm sorry, Dr. McKinney, I'm calling you out like that, but it is. Another thing that I find very discerning is the Project Succeed program. One, while I'm all like for getting kids involved with like Big Brother, Big Sister, even the Boys and Girls Club, hell, I'm a product of the Boys and Girls Club and the Nashua School District, not too proud to say that now. But I have a few problems with that. And one of them is that I have a high schooler who attends Franklin Street because he has some issues going on. And he frequently gets suspended. I mean, Dr. McKinney, Mr. Parker, we're pretty much on a first name basis at this point. But yeah, I don't agree. And as a mental health worker, I also don't agree. Because these kids, I can tell you my son is gonna look you right in the face and laugh and say, that's bullshit. He's gonna say, that's stupid. You know, he wants the day off. He wants to be home. Yeah, I think it's kind of, it's laughable, really. And they can't help somebody that has a persistent mental illness either, right? So they're not licensed therapists. They're not licensed mental health workers. They're advocates. They're youth advocates, not licensed. So yeah, but yeah, also, pay the damn teachers. I wore blue by accident today, just so everyone is aware. 5 a.m. comes super early, but I did, and then, you know, as soon as I walked in, I was like, right, that's still going on. 6 months. Like, this is ridiculous. But yeah, but thank you, by the way, to the finance committee that's helping out Franklin Street School and getting their shit together, because they need it.
Thank you. Gary Hoffman?
Gary Hoffman, 38 Perham Street. I'd like to congratulate everybody in the audience. I think Crystal said it correctly, a 2-hour spot there. Man, can't believe we're all still here. But why are we still here talking? Well, it's for us, or it's this contract. I can't, for the life of me, figure out why we don't have a deal. It's really frustrating. I'd like to thank Regan for her motion. Really appreciate it, because we don't know what the heck to do. You know, a couple of weeks ago, you're really, really proud to post this public statement all over social media. You sent it to thousands of parents. You stated, in the second paragraph, the negotiating team met with the union in good faith and agreed to the union's requests for salary increases for all teachers, averaging 4.1% over 4 years, of a total of $11,127,000 and change. And then this week, we get another proposal that drops it to 3.94%. I'm not a lawyer like Vin isn't either, but I mean, if this is to bring us together, I mean, my goodness, come on, guys, we got to do better than this. If you're really concerned about the money, as if Adam's position costs millions of dollars or something, let me go over some numbers with you. The last contract, when we projected the cost, we thought it was going to cost $65,861,000. But because we refused to account for retirements, that cost always ends up being significantly less, a lot less. It ended up only being $63,930,000, nearly $2 million less. If you don't think people are retiring in the next 4 years, and those people are going to all be replaced by people on top of the scale, I got news for you. Probably going to be in the middle of the scale. So you're going to be, this contract's going to be at least $2 million less than what we're projecting. Furthermore, the clock is ticking. We agreed to health care concessions. They're going to save the city about $2.3 million, but that's only if we get a deal. We don't come up with an agreement soon, my friends. Open enrollment's coming around. We got to go to the Board of Aldermen. That takes 6 weeks. You are costing the city of Nashua millions of dollars in tax savings. This is about as penny wise and pound foolish as I've ever seen. Get your act together. Get this deal done for the 95,000 citizens of the city and the 10,000 students and parents, and for the teachers. Thank you.
Hello, my name is Praditi Modedigu.
Thank you.
Speak right into the microphone. Oh, sorry. I live on 6 Bayberry Circle, and I'm a junior from Nashua High School South. I just wanted to bring up something that my peer May said. It's about the discontinuity of learning. I got COVID over winter vacation, and I was sick for a total of 10 days, and I missed 5 days of school. And it took me almost 2 weeks to recover the work that I missed because of the rigor of the classes I'm taking, and that's not not the teacher's fault, simply mine because of how hard it is. But I also wasn't able to recover any of do any of the work while I was not sick and still quarantining at home because I was not able to access any of the work. And I think it would be a good idea to implement asynchronatic learning for the kids that are sick, just so that they don't fall behind as much as I did, because I also got an ear infection when I came back to school for 3 days, and I had to go on to antibiotics, and I was scared of missing school again because finals and midterms came up recently. I did thankfully well on all of them, but it was really hard on me because I missed so much school and was still sick, but still trying in school. So I think it would be better to implement something for kids that are sick, just so that they don't have to go through the amount of stress that I was put through. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Hunter Porter.
Hi, my name's Hunter Porter. I live at 5 Hazel Ave, and I'm a junior. I'm also a junior at Nashua South. And I would just like to mention my support for the teachers union. I actually am wearing blue today, although accidentally. I would like to echo Samay's point that a strong union is vital for our learning as students, and that when you have teachers who have a strong contract, who have a fair contract, they are better teachers. They want to be there. They want to teach the students. We've heard our teachers talk about how upset they are that they can't continue to work past their contract hours. And that is not the fault of the union. That is the fault of the board for not voting for a fair contract that our teachers deserve. They deserve a better contract. And I hope that for the sake of our teachers and our students, that negotiations will come to an end soon with fair contracts. And I also would just like to respond to the point that the speaker before Pradathi made, where she said that teachers accepted the job knowing that they would have low pay. They didn't accept the pay jobs. They didn't accept that job to not have a contract. They didn't accept that job to be belittled by their superiors and the people who should be supporting and uplifting them. And they did not enter their job to be tortured by students because of this pandemic that we're all living in. And so I would like to say that from the students, we support you, and that it may not feel like it, but the majority of the students do support you, and I hope we can get a fair contract. Thank you.
Thank you. Maura Harrington.
Hi, Maura Harrigan, 80 Cox Street. I am a 5th grade teacher at Charlotte Avenue. I'm a mother of a graduate of North in 2021. This is my 27th year teaching here in Nashua, and I've been a building rep for years. And at our last meeting, when we were talking about this contract, and that this is the first time that it's not about financials. I mean, when I saw Mayor Donches get up and tell you that not only can they, will they pass it, they can afford it. So, you know, I was trying to explain to the newer teachers in my building that this is about weakening our union, which I'm going to tell you right now is the absolute one thing that has been absolutely consistent my 27 years here in Nashua is the strength and the passion of the Nashua Teachers Union. Superintendent's office is not consistent, as we all know. It's like a revolving door. The Board of Education, I don't know if you've watched the tapes from, you know, the remote learning and when you were being taped during that. Not a good look for Nashua. Just a scene that anybody would want to be a part of. And yet we are being told that we didn't work hard during that remote learning, which we did. So there's a lot of mistrust right now. What I want to say to you is 4 years ago, I stood before this board when we were renegotiating a contract and it was late again. And I told you that my colleagues in their 30s were starting to go to other districts and making $10,000 to $12,000 a year, more than they were in Nashua. And that if we didn't change things here, that trend was going to continue. And it did. So we have lost a real lot of that middle of the road teachers, and the newer ones that have replaced them are now looking and saying, do I want to be a part of this? Do I want to be a part of a system that every time a contract comes up, we have to go through this fight again? And what makes it so much worse this time is that we worked so hard to bring education to students during a pandemic that nobody had control over. So it just kind of adds to the angst. And I've always loved my years here. I love the families I work with, the kids I work with. My daughter had a fabulous education here because of the teachers. And I think you're losing sight of that. And I think the public needs to know that this has nothing to do about finances. This is all about weakening our union. And you don't want that to happen because we are the only strength here in Nashua right now, giving a very sound, excellent education to the children of this city. So to really hold this up and make people want to leave is a detriment to a city that I didn't grow up in, but I have raised my own child here and I have loved for years. So please do the right thing. Really look at this contract and pass it through so that we can all move forward and actually get some really good things done. Because 27 years ago when I came to Nashua, it was innovative, it was creative, it was the district that everybody in New Hampshire wanted to work for. And that is not the case now. We are at the bottom of the barrel for the new teachers coming out and looking for jobs. And I just want you to really help us get it back on track. We need to work together. You need to pass this contract. You need to stop trying to weaken our union, because I'm telling you right now, in 27 years, you're not going to win that fight. We are strong in solidarity now and always. And that's all I'm going to say for right now. Please do the right thing.